Hello. I think I'm about to be very big if I've set up my thing correctly. If not, you're just gonna see my Steam. Look at this. I got it right. Hello. Welcome in, Pumpkin, Lady Meeting Dough. How are you guys doing? It's just Sunday here. I've got a nice little. I don't know if, like, you can get the ASMR vibes. I'm not sure how I have my microphone tuned, but the little. Maybe I don't have the long enough nails like the ladies. You definitely got that one. Don't click that ad. NZ ads are oddly shocking. It's okay. My government organization quite sincerely traumatized a generation with an ad about sudden falls. Okay, that sounds horrendous. I will not be looking that up in my spare time. Doing well, starting dinner, exhausted from a wedding weekend. I don't know why I stopped our music. We're just like talking right now. We can have a little bit of music while we talk. I don't like going to weddings. I think someone else was saying this, and like I was like, no, weddings are nice. Like, what are you talking about? And then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't think I like going to weddings either. You're just tired afterwards. Like, good for you. You got married. Have a good day. Like, get out of my face. I don't want to be here right now. But maybe that's just me though. I don't know. I go a little hard at weddings, so that could be my fault completely. What are you having for dinner? Let us know. Yeah, my day's been great though. I'm actually really excited to try wobble dogs. Everyone keeps telling me about wobble dogs, saying I'd like wobble dogs. Hello, Louise. Welcome in. Good to see you're awake. It was my close friends, so this one I tolerated. It was all people I love and care about. Okay, well, that's better than nothing. You know, like, as long as you have like a connection with them, is better than nothing. I hate when you're like kind of invited to a wedding, but you're like kind of not. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I guess like they'd call them like second round picks. Like, they got all the first responses, so now you're second. I don't know. I don't like going to those weddings. It's like you clearly didn't want me here. You didn't want me here. So I don't want to be here. Your hair looks amazing, Louise. Thank you. I got it cut just after my Japan trip. So yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm having a great time with it. I have bangs you can't see because my hair is curly. So they've kind of like, I didn't straighten them, so they've just kind of like become curls up here. But they do exist. The bangs are here. I promise. I just remembered my hair is half green. Hopefully that gets resolved soon. I hope you can make it to the drugstore to do it. I'm not brave enough to box dye my hair. I did it one time when I was younger. I had the underlights done. I had like, when I put it up in a ponytail, it was like shocking, like bright pink. And then I completely ruined my hair doing that, and I had to have an undercut for a while, and I'd never do it again. Can you share some of your hairline? I need some more. Honestly, Louise, I have too much hair, if anything. It's very thick, so it can be a little frustrating sometimes. But I do remember that some people can't grow hair, so I try and feel blessed about it whenever I can. I'm making some open face sandwiches for dinner, my regular lazy meal. Okay, I wouldn't think to make open face sandwiches as a lazy meal. My lazy meal is like egg fried rice. And on Sundays, I actually I buy myself, I call it Lupper, because I'm usually out late from like 11 till 3 p.m. So I don't get to eat until almost 4. So I usually just pick something up on the way home. And then I had a burger and fries today, and it was absolutely delicious. I had the opposite of that in university. The underside was natural and the top layer was pink. Okay, Pumpkin, we were like on the same wavelengths and we didn't even know it. My hair is very thick, but increasingly less at the front. I'm sorry, Louise. That's hard. Going through anything like uncontrollable like that is not great. Okay, here, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. I wanted to talk about something, actually. I've been thinking about this a little bit. So we talked briefly, for those of you who were not here, at the end of my last stream, very briefly about a few things. One of which being like content going forward and what I want to do with this stream. And so I've actually, my YouTube channel does have a bunch of shorts queued up. So if you're not following me on YouTube, it is the same name here as it is on YouTube, Fatlegschickenboy. I have recycled all of the sort of clip content from Twitch into YouTube Shorts. And I'm also going to be posting unedited versions of the podcasts that I do up there. And any sort of longer form discussion, like when we have one either at the start or end of stream or maybe in the middle of stream, are going to go up there as well. Don't worry about going into sad mode, Louise. Please, no, that's totally fine. I don't mind at all. So all of that's going on. So yeah, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, you can head that way. I think the first one went up today at 10 a.m. and then they're queued up until like something like May. So I'm actually set for a little while, which is like very good. I'm so excited to see the FLCB brand expand. Listen, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm excited too. I've always read, you know, we talk about discoverability and we talk about things like this and people are like, you know, discoverability happens on YouTube. And I was like, okay, so what if I actually just like try doing YouTube a little bit? I'm not going extremely ham into it, obviously, because my camera is what my camera is. Like, it's not great. It's not great. FLCB fried chicken one, listen, it would be the most delicious celiac-friendly fried chicken you've ever had if that were to happen. That makes me think of, like, Ratatouille and Gusteau, like, when the little, the short executive chef is talking about, like, branding out the Gusteau hairline, or, like, the cooking line, not hairline. I was thinking about hair still, the cooking line, and he's going to make like all like these at-home microwave dinners. I think about that scene a lot. I actually really liked it. Anyways, talking about content, sorry. We're going to start today off just like relatively shorter conversation probably. I don't think it would go much past 20 or 30 minutes. Essentially like when people have like just chatting segments at the start, right? Which a lot of people do. Most streamers do. I think I just want to use mine to talk more about like the subjects that I've been thinking about and things that I've been thinking about at work or in my daily life versus sharing sort of all my personal life stories and like everything that's happening in my life and talking about like all those issues. Gusteau hairline, I was fully convinced that this was a thing in the movie and I just didn't remember it. I mean, I feel like I am convincing enough to pull that off Pumpkin. We could have just like committed full force to that. Anyways, I wanted to talk about parasocial relationships today a little bit. I've been thinking a lot about them recently in terms of Twitch, mostly because my Twitter feed has been filled with them for some reason. I don't know what's happened to my Twitter feed. I'll give you the rundown. There's this one woman who's a therapist, I believe, who talks about how your parents have ruined your life. I never interact with her tweets. I never click on them. I never read them. I just scroll by them and they keep showing up. Like, I don't know why I'm getting this woman's tweets, but I am. I get a lot of that. Obviously, the people that I follow, my friends, is totally fine. And then, like, just random crap about all these streamers. I guess I've entered streamer Twitter, and it's all these streamers that end up with these awful situations between either them and other streamers or them and their viewers, or maybe they were a viewer and they saw like they got attached to like a streamer or something. I don't know. And I think we talk about these relationships a lot. Pretty sure no one knows what's happening to Twitter. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Twitter's like, I keep seeing people like testing out like things that Elon Musk is like, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then they like do a test run and like it is exactly the same, working exactly the same. I know Twitter circles are completely broken. I completely broken. I know Sweet Anita is living some kind of hell right now with that. I haven't even seen that, Pumpkin. I'm going to Google that right now. Oh my gosh. I do not want to click on that. Holy crap. That sounds like an awful article. In 2020, Sweet Anita, a popular Twitch streamer, came forward with her story of being stalked relentlessly. She reported that her stalker waited outside her house, followed her home, and threatened her, her mother, and her pets with bodily harm. And the police say they can't do anything. Okay, great. Actually, this is really interesting that you brought me here because I was reading some of this article earlier. I didn't get to finish it, but I was reading some of this, and there's actually a few things that I was going to pull out of it. Yeah, that's awful. I admire how Elon Musk took over a dumpster fire and somehow set it more on fire, honestly. Honestly, me too. He's really done something there. So before, like, if we're going to talk about parasocial relationships, when we jump into it, I've got a few graphics here. We should really be reading a definition. I don't know how gigantic this is, so I apologize. I have no perspective to know what this stream looks like to you guys. I just know what my box looks like, and that's what we're going with. Parasocial relationships on Twitch are one-sided psychological bonds between a streamer and a viewer, where the audience feels intimately connected to the broadcaster without the feelings being reciprocated. The audience often shares intimate details about their lives and donates small amounts of money to get their attention. To the streamer, the viewers are simply names that rapidly scroll by in the chat box. Obviously, I and most streamers I watch are nowhere near the point where the Twitch chatters are just names in the chat box, if that makes sense. Where I'd like to approach this conversation a little bit more, like the direction of it from, though, today is we talk a lot about how viewers get like an attachment to Twitch streamers very easily. And I think it's easy to see how it happens because a lot of streamers will go live for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. If they're there the whole day just chatting about their lives, of course you're going to feel attached to them. And I think that's totally natural. We don't talk about, though, how like Twitch streamers sometimes feel like they have like a big connection with their viewers, despite the fact that the viewers aren't really sharing anything that much with them, if that makes sense. A lot of Twitch streamers that I see, though, in terms of like all this, I don't really know like honestly what I want to talk about with this today, like fully, but I just know like it's just been going on in my head, and I'm a very extroverted thinker, and so I wanted to like bring this up a little bit today, because it's so frustrating to see. You do see it between, I would argue it's more transactional between streamers, rating, and like it's hard because it feels like you have to preface everything, right, that's being said, but it's like rating into like people, like that's not necessarily a transactional thing. Being involved in someone's community, that's not necessarily a transactional thing. All these things are not necessarily transactional or not necessarily parasocial. A transactional relationship being one where you just want to get something out of it. But there are certain ways that they become those quickly, right? Like it would be very parasocial, if you want to word it that way, for me to, for instance, go into Light Emitting Dose stream and just be like, we're best friends all of a sudden if I like sub to you and just like hang out there. Sorry for dragging you into this random conversation here. But it would be weird if I went in and did that. I see them all over Twitch. They come here. I go to their stream. These things happen. Doesn't mean you're besties, though. Does that make sense? Are we following, chat? Hands up if we're following. Actually, I should show you guys the tweet that really made me start going like, I just gotta friggin' talk about this for a while. And it was this one, made way back in 2021. I don't even remember how I came across this Twitter thread. 2 hands up. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of folks have been commenting on how kids in school should be getting classes about misinfo or disinfo online and how to spot it. But I personally think a few lessons about avoiding the pitfalls of parasocial relationships would be a good idea too. A parasocial relationship example, you watch a Twitch streamer every evening, you tweet at them, and sometimes they answer. You buy their merch and retweet all their updates. If this is a source of entertainment/pleasure, that's nice, good, but that person is not your friend. Our primitive little ape brains are in no way prepared to deal with thousands, much less billions of people on the internet, and the resulting single-sided social interactions that inevitably lead to when high-profile people interact with folks paying attention to them. And obviously the internet didn't invent this phenomenon or anything, but it's probably resulted in a massive uptick of this manifestation. It's hard, like, going... Again, it's a difficult conversation to have because it feels like These people are like, sometimes they're giving you money. Sometimes they're definitely giving you their time. Like, viewers are giving you the most important thing that they could, right? They are giving you their time. They have chosen you. At the same time, though, through the choosing, like, you've also earned their attention in a sense, if that makes sense. And then there was also this one, we're just gonna hide that again for like a little bit. 'Cause I started doing reading into it. Because obviously, like, I was like, I think I'm gonna talk about this, and I think I want to talk about it tonight, even if it's just in a light version of talking about it. And as I was reading about it, I came across this article on this website called healthygamer.gg. I've never heard of this website before. I am sure it exists. I am sure it is out there. And it's very It looks like, yeah, Dr. K. Yeah, like, he's obviously, like, he's got, like, a lot going on. Yeah, Healthy Gamer. That's exactly who I'm looking at. I have no idea who this man is. I have no idea. But I actually really like his content. And part of what he does is he actually Twitch streams. He's a licensed psychiatrist. Welcome in, Blader. Always good to have you here. He's a licensed psychiatrist, and he's had a lot of really popular people on in the past in terms of Twitch streamers. This article actually, though, specifically links to, first of all, a Ludwig interview, which the Ludwig one was it was neat to watch. Obviously, I don't think that Ludwig is an idiot. Hold on, I do want to read this. Light of Meaning Doe. Oh my gosh, you guys have got opinions here. I love this. I often wonder how to refer to people in Twitch chats, even my own, because it's not quite friendship, right? Friendship to me implies some tangible social connection, like knowing about them personally. I think that's a really important point to bring up, because for some people, like friendships and relationships, if you don't have a lot of friendships and you don't have a lot of relationships, your baseline for what a friendship should be is probably a lot lower than someone who has really tangible and important connections to them in real life, if that makes sense. Because I do have like people from Twitch that I would absolutely 100% consider my friends. We talk regularly, we hang out, we play games, like, we are friends. They know about my life, I know about their life. That doesn't take place so in Twitch chats, and I'm not sure that it's 100% the right place for it to always take place, only because it feels really dangerous to me at times if you don't have a Twitch streamer who can, like, shut it down when it needs to go down. People tend to trauma dump, and they tend to come in and just, like, give you, like, all of the worst things that happen in their day consistently, and it's like, that's really tough, especially for, like, a community to listen to, and that's tough for a streamer to listen to. For anybody to listen to. You should never take only the bad from your friends. That's not your job. And when they come in and do that and they dump it off, if you don't have a Twitch streamer who's basically able to go, okay, well, sorry, that sucks. That's unfortunate, and just move on, then you're going to end up with, like, an awful, like, I don't want to say vibe, but that just feels like the way to put it. I bought his little course on ADHD and it was very insightful. Pumpkin, you give me those details. Hit my DMs up. Important to remember that if the streamer is a full-time content creator, they are trying to make sales in some way to earn money. They can be absolutely decent people who aren't trying to exploit people, but it's important to be aware as a viewer. I agree. And I think that's, like, when people get rid of that disconnect, that is where these things begin to happen. And for a lot of larger streamers, it is people showing up at their door. It's people stalking them. It's people just, like, DMing them all these really alarming things. And that's actually what I learned about today, is I didn't realize how many, like, direct messages these streamers take on at times. Not entirely sure why they don't make them private, but that's to their own accord. I used to have a young viewer who would always come in and trauma dump extensively, and it was so difficult figuring out how to navigate it. It's hard. And I think a lot of it has to definitely be, like, shutting it down. And I think that's when, if you have mods, like, it's important to almost, like, talk to them and communicate that to them, because the mods, in theory, are the first line of defense, right? They're the people who say, okay, like, we're not doing that, and delete the messages so that the streamer doesn't have to deal with it. The streamer deals with it as last case scenario. But yeah, no, the trauma dumping, like, It's hard, especially like even I've had friends who try and do that, and it's like I do wonder because I have this thing where I always message people, can I ask a question? Can I tell you something? Can we talk? Like I try not to use can we talk because I know it sets off a lot of people's brains. But there's always a question first before I start with something. And I think part of the reason why is because I've had experiences with people who have just like extensively trauma dumped. Not on Twitch, thank goodness. I have no idea how I would deal with that. But in my personal circle and like personal friendships. Anyways, so I started watching this Dr. K stuff. He was doing a charity stream at one point. Let me mute this tab and I'll check what it was just so you guys don't hear them talking over me. It was Gamers for Chalk, CHOC. And he had on some really big names, one of which being Ludwig. I don't know if Ludwig was that big at the time that this happened. And their conversation was very interesting for a number of reasons. One of which being, again, like, I'm not going to judge Ludwig and say that, like, I think he's, like, this really stupid guy just because he, like, uses, like, bros and muchachos or whatever he says. I don't think he says muchachos. I don't know where I got that from. Are you allowed to... Is that... Anyways. But I'm not going to, like, judge him for saying, like, bros and gamers and whatever, because we all have a persona on stream. Everybody does, and it's always changing. But I'd never heard him talk in, like, such, like, a, like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, like, very, like, almost, like, higher in intellectual level, right? Not just a basic explanation, but, like, a more in-depth and intellectual explanation. So it was really neat to see that, and they talked a lot about parasocial relationships, and there's a couple quotes from the article that we'll talk about in a little bit from it. But he also had, like, Moist Critical was on it, which was weird. Like, that was super odd to see. Jacksepticeye was on it, and they all wanted to talk about parasocial relationships. So quite cool, actually. And I think the interviews were really helpful for understanding a lot of the topics. So if anybody's interested, you should check it out.
Hey, I know what to do. Here, Miss Langtree, play something like this.
Oh, like this?
Good enough.
You're back, Bible thump, Bible thump, Bible thump.
Kelly, welcome in. It's always good to have you here.
What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
Welcome in, Raiders. We're going to take a quick break from what we were up to. My name is Alana. I am a variety streamer here on Twitch. I mostly play roguelike games, so it seems, although tonight we're playing Wobble Dogs for some reason. It's fine. We're not going to worry about it. I do a podcast here on Twitch, usually Mondays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Recently, I have had actually quite a few guests on, the last one being Yes, David. We are getting started, though, tomorrow on a podcast. I have no topic. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I have no guest lineup. I have no topic lined up. If you're available, if you're around, though, we do have that happening. Anyways, I work, my day job is a landscaper, so if you have any plant questions, I don't know, let me know. Used to work as a personal trainer. Anyways, it's great to have you all in here. We just really like to talk about things. Jax, welcome in. How did the charity stream go? So, Jax was, correct me if I'm wrong, you were playing Marvel Snap, and the concept was, anytime someone beat you, you would donate $5 to charity. Let me know what happened there, because I saw that and was like, that's risky. What if you have really, really, really good Marvel Snap players in your community? I hope it went great, though, and I hope you had a wonderful raid, so everyone welcome in. And if you need to go take a break, please feel free to. You are not required to be here, although I think you would have a very good time here, so I would encourage you to stick around. Sorry, we're just going to make me even bigger. I don't know what that was about. I made myself slightly less big. What happened? He beat pretty much all of you guys. Oh my gosh. I only lost once. Okay, but we had some community donations and I'm rounding up the pot to 60. Okay, that's wonderful. That's great. What charity were you doing that for? I really did. I thought about, I think I saw like some announcement about it like only a little while ago, maybe like a couple days ago. I don't know if it was like on Twitch or something, maybe when I popped in for one of your streams, and I was like, do I practice Marvel Snap and just show up? But I've never played it before, so I was like, that could be really embarrassing. Hello, don't think I know anyone here, but I know you from Rager Brian. Beep boop, welcome in. Thank you for popping on over. It's great to be here. I do frequent Rager Brian's streams. You're not entirely incorrect in that. I haven't popped by in a little while though, actually. So happy to have you here. Listen, we're talking about parasocial relationships and what that's like on Twitch before we get into our wobble dogs, which again, I don't know what to expect with any of this. So yeah, we're discussing parasocial relationships. For those of you who don't know, it's the concept of in terms of Twitch, since we're all watching Twitch here, we all know what Twitch is. We'll talk about that. The idea that either like a streamer or a viewer has a one-sided relationship really going on with someone else, and that person's not doing that. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Jax might have a few things to add to that conversation. I'm sure he does. He's probably been doing this for a lot longer than I have, so I'm sure he has a lot to add on that regard. Thank you for the follow. Super appreciate it. Come play anytime. We also have some Flannel fan members who talk about Snap semi-frequently in the Discord. Oh, well, you know, I think I have it installed on my phone and on Steam. Like I really should be playing Marvel Snap. I feel like I haven't had time yet. We were just kind of going over like the topics of like trauma dumping and what that experience is like for whether you've been a Twitch streamer or not. I'm sure you've had someone trauma dump on you and how difficult that has been. Light Emitting Dodo just did say, I'm sure many of the people in these circles could become my friends, but right now it's like we are friendly with each other. Like we're all at a virtual bar or social space, but I haven't invited anyone into my home because yeah, some folks will come to us and trauma dump and I don't enjoy dealing with that. Absolutely. Enjoy your raid and run. Have a great day, Jax. Thank you for bringing your community over here. I really appreciate it. I really agree with that, Light Emitting Doe. I think that's absolutely the correct way to look at that. It's the idea of you're friendly with each other and you're cordial with each other, but it does eventually become something else, doesn't it? Right? Like you're either in a smaller community, let's say, you're either going, and I don't even know how we define a small Twitch community, by the way, but we'll just go with, we all know what we're talking about. In a smaller Twitch community, which is still one of the higher percentiles, because I think it's, if you hit Twitch affiliate, you are in the top, is it like 70 to 80%? No, you're in the top 20 to 30% of Twitch streamers. It was something insane like that. Like I do remember reading those statistics before. Anyways, when you're in smaller Twitch circles and obviously like you see the people and the chat isn't so active that it's just like speed rolling and steamrolling over any type of conversation you have, I feel like eventually you will either become friends with that person, they'll stay just a viewer, which is totally fine, or eventually you hit this point where it's like they like kind of turn out to be weird and not really welcome in your community. There actually was one streamer I remember who doxed himself. I think it was Crunchy Island. If you guys were ever in the Animal Crossing community, Crunchy Island made a trailer and basically announced and said, look, someone's going to dox me. They keep threatening to. And before they do, I am going to do it myself. And he made, just like this whole, this is who I am. This is my face. This is my job. This is my full name. This is how I came to be on Twitch. This is why I'm here. It was really, actually, it was quite fascinating. It felt very empowering to me. Like, I was like, wow, like, that guy, like, really just, like, took the bull by the horns and said, this is what we're doing. Like, y'all ain't got nothing on me. So I would like to think I'd be that brave in that situation, but I don't know if I would be. A streamer friend of mine had a viewer, also young, who did something similar, but their stories didn't really make sense, so we kind of thought it was made up, at least partly. I think a lot of people do come in and make things up, like, especially, like, young people, like, will pop in. And just kind of make random stuff up. They want the attention. I don't know if it's like an attention thing that they want, or if they just want to know that, like, maybe if they got into a scenario like that, someone would pay attention to them. It's hard to tell. Okay, there was one last thing, though. A couple quotes here. some of that's very outdated, beep boop. I apologize. I need to make that more generic because I don't remember to update it. The Jack Strats episode actually hasn't happened because I unintentionally got very, very sick that day that it was supposed to happen. I woke up with a awful sore throat and was like, I am not going to do this. Do you have uploaded podcasts anywhere? So all of the highlights are available on my channel currently. And I have a YouTube channel under the same name, Fatlegschickenboy, and I'm going to make them live very shortly on the YouTube channel. I just want to make sure that I have there's an unedited version, like what we would do live on Twitch, and then there's going to be an edited version where I take out like a few, like just like the chatting segments. Like sometimes like I'll pause and chat with people. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. And so that's going to be also soon up on an RSS feed, and that'll be on more like traditional podcast hosting areas as well. You have a great podcast voice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's really kind, Beep Boop. I really like your name, by the way, Beep Boop. That's going to be good to say. Okay. So like I said, I was reading and watching some of these interviews that Dr. K did with other Twitch streamers. And I do really like this one quote that I have on screen here. One of the reasons someone reaches out to streamers for help is that they know that they won't get a response. People would rather take chances that have a high likelihood of failure than take those that have a slightly higher chance of success. This was in regards to Ludwig actually talked about how people DM him asking for money, like what he should do with his life, like should he go to this college, should he go to that college, like I said, it is definitely like everyone's personal choice as to whether you make your DMs open or not. I don't know why you would leave them open when you get that big, though, if that makes sense. That would be really, really tough to deal with and to filter through, I think. There would just be a lot there. There were a couple other things said, too. These were different sound bites that were in the article that I really liked. And this is from Moist Critical. At the end of the day, the streamer is there to put on a show and be entertaining and be there for somebody, not necessarily a pillar in someone's life. I make it pretty clear with my community that this kind of parasocial relationship with someone is not really healthy. That, actually, Louise basically just said that earlier in this stream. You know, Twitch streamers are here not to be your best friend or a main pillar in your life, but just to be some entertainment for you. And that's really it at the end of the day. And I think we get to the point where people have parasocial relationships either with the viewer or with this, like the streamer to the viewer or the viewer to the streamer, because maybe they just don't know any better. And maybe sometimes also there's just like the wrong signals are going off, right? I know a lot of streamers who play off very like flirty and fun and just here to have a good time. And I think that's very easy to read, especially if you're lonely and you just want friends. That's very easy to read as well, you know, they like me. We're friends now. I'm just going to shrink this up. Boop. I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one I have up there. This is from Jacksepticeye. I haven't gotten around to watching his interview yet. I need to let people know not to go poking when I disappear for 3 weeks, to leave my family alone, to leave me alone, and to respect the boundary of what has happened. You just need to tell people up front instead of leaving any ambiguity in the air, because from my experience, it just makes things worse. This one, to me, is the most absolutely insane quotes I've ever read, by the way. Like, just people just, like, go digging around, start contacting his family. Okay. I don't know. To me, that's crazy. That is crazy. That's absolutely off, like, bonkers to me. And again, it comes down to, like, I get that this is people's lives and this is their, like, work, and it's easy for me to sit around and like say all these things about like, oh, but like they should like do all these things and whatever, right? But it's still like, that's hard. I don't know. I was once having a really bad day and knowing Elena was going to stream was very comforting because I could listen to her voice. Louise, that is very kind. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Chatting to a streamer into the community can feel social. I sometimes say it fills my social bar like a sim, so it could be easier to blur the lines between a social interaction and a friendship. I think so. Yeah, and I think for a lot of people who are very, introverted, especially, I think it would really fill in that line, if that makes sense. Like, I actually know a lot of introverted people who say that keeping a Twitch stream on for about an hour a day, like, is enough social interaction for them, which is fine, to each their own, obviously. But for me, like, I'm very outgoing, very extroverted. Like, I need that additional social interaction. So I think it feels a little different for me, but I do totally get what you're saying. And for a lot of people, especially during COVID, I think that really fit that need, didn't it? The ability to go onto Twitch and just talk to their friends. And I think that's why a lot of people made friends on Twitch in the first place. And then if we're following that line of thinking, right? So if those are your friends and these are the friends that you have right now because of the pandemic, then why wouldn't your friends want you in person? Why wouldn't your friends want you, et cetera, et cetera? It just, like, I think some people's social circles reestablished post-COVID, and I think some people didn't. And they haven't made new ones perhaps in real life yet, because maybe either they're comfortable being with the friends that they have, or they just haven't gone out and done it yet. I lost a majority of my social circle during COVID for a number of reasons, and I've had to go out and, like, start making new ones, and it's odd. It's a very weird feeling, because a lot of these people are old friends that are now, like, starting to hang out regularly again because COVID's over, and I'm kind of like the new guy. Not even my IRL friends would contact my family if I went missing in action. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't know if most of my friends know how to contact my family, except for my one sister who hangs out here. They could go find her, but that's it. I kind of get it because I'm hella curious. I think there's totally a difference though between being curious and, like, doing social media stalking and, like, going up to someone's, like, mom's house and being like, what happened to Jacksepticeye? I don't know if that's actually what happened, but, like, that to me would just be absolutely insane if it was. Since I moved, it's been difficult to meet new people. I have a small handful, but it's difficult. 100%. I have not really, like, had a stable in-person social circle the whole time I've been where I'm living now. And it's been, like, it's been 4 years, I think, almost. Again, pandemic, et cetera, but it's tough. Actually, one place that I've had a lot of success is, everybody says it, but it's kind of the truth, is exercise classes. People love to meet new people there. I don't know. That's where I've gotten my friends recently. Since right now I'm not working, I kind of go stir crazy, need to have a YouTube video podcast stream on to not go insane. Absolutely, 100%. The first winter that I was sort of off of landscaping work and I wasn't working as a personal trainer and I didn't really have, like, a lot happening in the winter time, that one was really tough. That was exceptionally hard. I think I had a lot of Twitch streams on that time, and I didn't, because I was working manual labor and I switched careers, I didn't have sort of that whole, like, March 2020 Twitch experience that I think a lot of people did have. I really came into, I guess, like, post-pandemic boom numbers quite a bit later than everyone else. So I don't know. I think it's just, like, a tough conversation to have, and this wasn't even very, like, super, like, informative or, like, opinionated or, like, yeah, like, these are the things that I think about this thing, but, like, you know, sometimes you just need to talk about something. I just needed to talk about this. As my sister said earlier, though, I have a parasocial relationship with my dogs. Does anybody here know what wobble dogs even is? Do we know? I do. I like the music. Let me know if it's too loud. I don't know where it's going to be a good place for me. We're going to figure it out. We're going to start with me up here, I guess.